Good morning children. Today we are going to discuss about your fifth lesson of your history, the age of Vedas. Okay, how many Vedas do we have? You have an idea? Yes, there are 4 Vedas. We will slowly discuss in this lesson. All of you must have heard of the Vedas. Written over 3000 years ago, the Vedas are one of the earliest literary sources available to us. The period during which they were written is known as the age of Vedas. So Vedas is nothing but Veda. It means knowledge. What do you mean by word Veda? Knowledge. And these are Vedas are the written sources. These are the written scripts in the olden days. Okay. The period during which they were written, in the period during which these Vedas were written, that is called as the age of Vedas. The word Veda means knowledge. There are 4 Vedas. What are the 4 Vedas we have? Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda and Atharvana Veda. What are the 4 Vedas, children? Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda and Atharvana Veda. Okay. They contain hymns in praise of various gods and goddesses. These hymns were recited and passed from one generation to the next until many centuries later. They were finally written down. Since the Vedas are our main source of information, the period from 1500 to 600 BCE is called as the Vedic age. So these 4 Vedas were written in the period 1500 to 600 BC. Therefore, that particular period is called as the Vedic period. Okay, and Veda means knowledge. And we have 4 Vedas: Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, Atharvana Veda. Okay, and what do these Vedas contains? These Vedas contains different hymns. Hymns mean slokas. Hymns means slokas that were written in praising different gods and goddesses. Okay, simply to say like your Bible and Quran. Similarly, these Vedas also. Okay, the Rig Veda is the oldest Veda. So, which Veda is the oldest one? Rig Veda. It was composed about 3500 years ago. It means it was written. It was written about 3500 years ago. It is divided into 10 mandalas or books and contains 1228 hymns. Hymns and slokas. Okay. Now Rig Veda was written 3500 years ago. Okay. And how many it is been divided into how many parts? Mandalas and parts or books. It is divided into 10 mandalas or 10 books. And complete Rig Veda consists of how many slokas? 1028 slokas. These hymns are in the praise of different gods. So, hymns and shlokas. So, what are the shlokas they have written? Rig Veda consists of shlokas related to the praise of gods like, who are those? Indra, god of rain, storm and war. Agni, the fire god, Varun, the sky god and many others. So, Rig Veda especially consists the shlokas especially related to the praising of gods. Who are those gods? One is god of rain, that is Indra, storm, god of storm and war, Agni, the fire god, Varun, the sky god and many others. The hymns were composed in Vedic Sanskrit. Priests recited these hymns and students were expected to memorize them. And what is the language they have followed while they were writing this Vedas? Sanskrit. And the priest, whoever the priest and the Rushu, the priest used to recite the Vedas or the shlokas and the students used to learn them or recite them. Like previously Gurukulas unde, ippudunna high school, international schools, we don't have previously. Now it came into existence, but previously Veda Pathasala unde, Veda Pathasala, Vedic schools. Till today they are there. Okay, so in that schools they will not teach you math, science or all things. They teach only the Vedas. It means, see, if Rig Veda has 1028 shlokas, then see how many days a person has to take in order to recite those 1028 shlokas. Takes lot of time. So in this Veda Pathashala, they will make them to learn all the shlokas related to Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajur Veda and Atharvana Veda. Next, archaeological sources. Archaeological remains of this period have also been unearthed. Excavations at Hastinapura and Atranji Khera have yielded a type of pottery known as painted graveware. Now, archaeologists, the people who study about the previous days, like they dig the earth, they take the items or the old things, they gather it, they study it, and they explain to us how our ancestors were, how the life was in the olden days. Okay, so these during these archaeological excavations have done, they have found out a different type of pottery. What is that? Painted graveware. Another type of pottery called black and red ware. So these are the two types of pottery they have excavated. Has also been found from many places in the Ganga Valley. These two types of pottery tell us about the life of the people who compose the Vedas. These people are generally referred to as the Aryans. So when the excavations were started, when they started about discovering or when they started studying about the places near Hastinapura and Atranji Khera, they found out a different pottery. What is that? Painted graveware. Okay. And when they excavated the places near the Ganga Valley, they found out black and red ware. So these two varieties of pottery or the vessels, they got it and they studied it and they came to one conclusion: how was the life in this Vedic period? And these people, the people who were there in the Vedic period, generally they are referred as the Aryans. Next, daily life. People were divided into numerous tribes, different tribes, Shakalu, divide chestar. So what are the tribes were called as Janas? What are these different tribes? Are nothing but the Janas. Okoka tribe, one Jana. Each tribe settled in a particular area which consisted of many villages. So one tribe, they used to settle at one place, and that places consist of many villages. Each tribe had a king. For every tribe they have a king, and that king is called as the Rajan or chief, and he was selected for his bravery. If the king is very brave enough, then that particular person is selected as a king, and that fellow is called as the Rajan or chief. These kings were not like the kings of later times. They did not have huge palaces or large armies. Their control was limited to a small area. If we see kings, Mughal emperors or Cholas or whatever is it, so they used to have huge palaces and they had huge kingdoms. But here, the king of these tribal areas, that is so-called Rajan, their power is confined to only smaller places. Only to some place itself, the power is confined. It doesn't have any huge palaces to stay in. There were two assemblies. How many assemblies? Two. The Sabha and the Samiti. The Sabha was an assembly of probably the elders and the important people. The Samiti was a general assembly, probably a gathering of members of every family of the Jana. People attended these assemblies and discussed issues. So how was the daily life of these people? People generally are divided into different tribes, and that tribes are called as the Janas. Okoka Saka, and different sectors you can call. That is called as the Jana. And for this each tribe or Jana, they select a person who is very brave enough, and they call that person as a king. Or this king is called as the Rajan or chief at that period. So these Rajans or chief, so-called king, he has no huge palaces and his power is confined only to small area itself. That's why there were many kings. Previously only one king. Okay, but in this Vedic period there were many kings because they used to rule only small places, and they have two assemblies. One is Sabha and the Samiti. Sabha is where very taking part in the Sabha. Where is Samiti? Common people. Common people along with these important people, they come together, gather and they discuss the problem. Sabha, only the important persons. Samiti, along with the important people, the common people and their family members. That is Samiti. Cattle and horses were very important to the people. We know this from the Rig Veda, which contains many hymns asking gods to bless people with cattle and horses. So, cattle and horses were very important for these people, and especially Rig Veda contains the shlokas praising the gods, and they praise the gods especially to protect their cattle, that is horses. They praise the god to protect their cattle and horses, especially Rig Veda. Each household had a number of cows. Dairy products such as butter and ghee were popular. Yes, simply if they have milk giving animals, obviously they have butter and milk or butter and ghee more in number. Sura was a type of liquor which was drunk on common festival occasion. So what was the liquor they used to drink? Sura. On festival occasions, on special occasions, these people, they used to drink a common liquor. What is that called as? Sura. Another popular drink was Soma, which was prepared from milk and the juice of a rare plant that grew on the mountains. People drank it during special religious ceremonies. Now see, Sura is a liquor. Okay, Sura is a liquor that they generally take it in festivals, during the festivals. And Soma is another type of special juice. They make it from the milk and the juice of a rare plant that is available or that they get it from the mountains. And people drink Soma during the religious ceremonies. Horses were important because they yoked to chariots that were used in the battle. Generally we find horses, they pull over the chariots and these chariots used in the wars. Most battles were fought for cattle, horses and land. So most of the wars or most of the battle happened only for the cattle, horses and the land. People performed sacrifices and made offerings to different gods. The priests who performed these rituals and sacrifices were given cows, horses, gold and cloth as gifts. So people sacrifices ante bali istar edaina ammavariki mekani cut cheyadam edo okati you just see in your regular daily life. Okay, so previous days also people used to sacrifice the animals and they give different offerings to the gods. And the priest ante evaru poojarulu panditulu. So these priests who are doing these sacrifices, ఏదైతే ఇది చేస్తున్నారో సెరిమనీ, ఇప్పుడున్న రోజుల్లో what we give it to them, we give only money or we give some clothes or fruits. But in those days they used to offer the priest any cattle, even a horse. They used to offer a horse, or they used to give a cow, or they used to give gold and the cloth, except the money. The kings performed sacrifices in which the common people also participated. In course of time, rituals became so important that every important event was preceded by an elaborate ritual. So previously, all these rituals ante pandagalu, pabbalu, okay. So these festivals, always they used to celebrate in a grand way. And ఏదో ఒక sacrifice చేయడం, ఏదో ఒక బలి ఇవ్వడం, ఏ festival అయినా కూడా. And this festival was used to be done by the priest. Occupations, agriculture and cattle rearing are the main occupations. So what are the main occupations over there? Agriculture and cattle rearing. Other common occupations were, what are the other common occupations? Chariot making and rathalu cheyadam, pottery making, weaving, jewelry making, metal work, carpentry, tanning and fishing. So these are the other important occupations of the people in the Vedic period. Many people were priests. Priest ante poojaru. Besides conducting religious ceremonies, priests also acted as teachers and doctors. So previously, now we don't find any priest or doctor or a teacher. Very less we find. But in that Vedic period, almost all the priests were educated, and we find all the teachers or the doctors are mostly priests. They passed on the knowledge of the Vedas to the children. So they passed the knowledge in terms of Vedas to all the children. They also had considerable knowledge about medicinal herbs and plants. So these priests have the knowledge about the medicinal herbs. Apatlo, like previous days, we don't have any tablets or tonics or injections. If they have any sort of a disease, they depend upon the medicinal herbs like manaki turmeric, ivanni untayi kada. So they used to depend on the plants only. Medicinal plants అనేవి ఉంటాయి, తులసి, ఇవి ఏంటంటే రోగాల్ని తగ్గిస్తూ ఉంటాయి. So these priests have thorough knowledge about these medicinal plants. Whenever someone fell ill, the priest acts as a doctor. Since they have thorough knowledge about the medicinal plants, these priests act as a doctor if somebody are ill or sick. Ornaments of gold, silver and other metals were worn by both men and women. This we know very well. Like ornaments are worn by both men and women at those times. The Vedas also make reference to footwear. Footwear is nothing but the chappal what we wear it. Next, dasas, dasyus. Beside the Aryans, who are these Aryans? The people in the Vedic period. They are called as the Aryans. Beside these Aryans, there was another group of people whom the Aryans called. Apart from the Aryans, there were another group of people. Who are those? Dasas or dasyus. Their culture was different from that of the Aryans. Aryans' culture is different from these two people. They also spoke a different language, and this language was different from Aryans to Dasas or Dasus. Most of the Dasas were perhaps enslaved, and so the term Dasa came into mean slave. Most Dasas had to do whatever work was given to them by their masters. Simple children, who are these Dasas or Dasyus? These are the slaves to the Aryans. Pani manishulu, the people who work under them, and whatever the Aryans used to say, they used to do the work. So the master, whatever the master says, these people used to do the work. These people are called as the Dasas, and their culture is different from the Aryans, and they speak even different language. At the time when the Vedas were being composed, there were important developments in other parts of the India. Let us look. During this Vedic period also, there were some improvements have been done, or some developments were done in India. What are they? Inamgon in Maharashtra is one of the largest Chalcolithic settlements in India. It has been estimated that at one time about 1,000 people may have lived here. The settlement lasted over for 900 years. So over 1,000 people only, they used to stay in this Inamgon, a largest settlement in India. Now archaeological find. As many as 134 mud houses have been excavated at Inamgon at Maharashtra. Most are rectangular in shape with only 1 or 2 rooms. One house, however, has 5 rooms. It may have been house of the ruling chief. Next to this house is a granary. The chief may have collected grain from the farmers and stored it here. So while they were doing this archaeological study, they have founded different mud houses in this Inamgon, that is a site in Maharashtra. So they found the mud houses, and these mud houses were in the shape of a rectangle, or there was only single room, or there were 5 rooms. If they have more rooms, like if the mud house has 5 rooms, it means they used to think like in this particular mud house the king used to stay, and next to this king's house there was another mud house, and it was like used as a granary. Granary is nothing but the storeroom, like where they used to store the food grains and all. Oval-shaped pits have been found inside the most houses. So oval shape and good shape, egg-shaped pits have been found in most of these houses. These pits have been used to cook the food. So for what they used to use these pits? Cooking the food. Similar pits have also been found outside of some houses. It suggests that many people may have done some of their cooking outdoors. Storage pits and storage bins have also been found. So these oval-shaped pits, and they go through gundalla unde andalo they put these sticks and they burn and they cook their food. So they found few pits inside the house and also outside the house. It means like most of the people who are inside, they used to cook the food inside the house. If they found outside the house, they thought like many of the people have cooked the food even outside the houses. Archaeologists have found a lot of pottery and stone tools at Inamgon. Most of the pots are red in color. Some have black design designs on them. Stone tools may have been used to chop trees, pound meat and skin animals. Now see, apart from these mud houses, the archaeologists even found a lot of pottery and the stone tools, like tools made of stone, and they used these tools, stone tools, for what purposes? They used to chop the trees or to pound the meat and the meat ni cut cheyadamu and to peel the skin from the animals. And the pots, what they found were in which color? Red in color. The people of Inamgon made artifacts of copper. So what the things generally they used to make it the things with copper? They may have obtained copper from Rajasthan. So from where they used to get the copper? From Rajasthan. However, only few tools and ornaments of copper have been found at the site. But still, on these excavations, they found very less amount of items that were made with the copper. So what are that they found? It drills, tongs, fish hooks, arrowheads. And coming to ornaments, beads, bangles and anklets. These are all made of copper. So as they found these copper ornaments or copper tools, so they thought like they used to use the things generally used with the copper. And then from where do they get this copper? From Rajasthan. Beads made of terracotta, semi-precious stones and ivory have also been found. Some beads are made from seashells. You know what are the seashells? Generally we found it near the beach. These suggest that the people of Inamgon traded with people in other parts of the country. So different jewellery they used to wear it. So when they are wearing different jewellery, all these things may not be available in Inamgon. So what did they thought? They came to one conclusion. Okay, they have done the trading also been done with the different parts of the country as well. Numerous terracotta figures have been found at Inamgon. Some had been baked and hardened in clay ovens. Some of the animal figures may have been toys, while others may have had a religious significance. Many figures of the bull have been found. People probably worshipped the bull. Perhaps they also worshipped the female goddesses. In one of the burial sites, archaeologists found a clay bull along with a female figure. So when these excavations are going on, they found number of terracotta figures. So and apart in that, generally they were hardened in a clay ovens. Ante vedi cheses. Hardened ante they just burn it in the fire. And also they have found the figures that looks like a toys, and others had a religious significance. And maybe they got this thing, that related to the god, or they got any stupa or any idol of the god. And what do they found? Many figures of bull they have found. So they thought like they used to worship the bull in the ancient times. Seeds and thousands of animal bones are amongst the other important finds. Apart from these, apart from the pottery, apart from these terracotta items, apart from the ornaments, also they found seeds and thousands of animal bones. These give us an idea of the kind of food that people ate and how they obtained it. So depending on the seeds and the animal bones, they came to one conclusion like what sort of a food these Aryans or the people in Inamgon used to have. Crops such as wheat, barley, lentils, peas, gram and beans were grown. So what are the crops grown? Wheat, barley, lentils, peas, gram and beans. Meat, fish and dairy products were also a part of the daily life. Since cattle rearing was an important occupation, the dairy products were also available. Decline. Decline ante came to one end. When this Vedic period came to one end. In the last phase of the settlement, the people of Inamgon seem to have been facing many problems. There was a decline in farming, which may have been due to shortage of rainfall or decrease in the fertility of the soil. So slowly this Vedic period came to an end. Already we learned in the previous days, like previous lesson, Indus Valley civilization or few other civilizations came to one end because of many of the reasons. Maybe it's a pandemic, or maybe due to floods, or maybe due to heavy rainfall, the people left the places and they settled at different places, so that particular era came to an end. Similarly, Vedic period also came to an end, and in that, first of all, farming came to an end. There were no more farming done further because of the rainfall is less, or maybe the land or the soil was losing the fertility. If the land is fertile, then only we can grow the crops. People began relying more on hunting and gathering food. Since the land was not fertile, farming came to, there was no more farming, so people started gathering the food by hunting. There was also a change in the way houses were constructed. Instead of rectangular houses, we find small and circular huts. So even we found like mud houses were there. But slowly, as the Vedic period came to an end, the houses have been changed their shapes also. Instead of rectangular one, they find small and circular huts, not mud houses. They found huts. The word megalithic literally means big stones. What do you mean by mega means big, lith, stone, big stones. At many places in the Deccan, South India, the northeast and the northwest, huge stone boulders have been found. They are generally arranged in circular pattern. They were perhaps used to mark graves or burial sites. These stone boulders are called megaliths. So heavy stones which they have found in many places, that is near Deccan, South India, northeast and northwest, especially in the Kashmir. They found these huge stone boulders, pedda stones, and they used to arrange it in a circular way. In the circular form they will arrange all these stones, and where they generally they arrange these stones in order to mark it's a graveyard kani, burial ground. In order to mark it as they used to form the circles and in the round ga arrange chesevaru. These stone, each stone boulders, whatever the way they have arranged it, those are called as the megaliths. The megaliths have some special features. First, megalithic burials were underground and megaliths were placed on the surface to mark the burial. So underground lo and generally we take and we put up the dead body. So our particular area lo they used to arrange these stones. These probably served in signpost. So they used to think, okay, since these megaliths, heavy stones have arranged, they thought somebody is being buried over this place as a sign. And then, okay, some dead body is being buried here. You have signboards set along there. How you find the signboard? Similarly, the megaliths used to, like they use these megaliths as a signboards. These probably served as a signpost. Second, many objects have been found in the graves, including human skeletons, pottery, agricultural tools, weapons and ornaments. Also, during the excavations, even they found the skeletons of the humans also. Apart from this, they even found the pottery and the agricultural tools that were made with the stone, and copper were also being found. Those meant for hunting, however, are more in number. Already we learned like farming came to an end in those periods because of the less rainfall or the less fertile of the soil. The people started gathering food by hunting. Therefore, they found these tools more in number. This suggests that though the megalithic people practice agriculture, they depend more on hunting. The graves also contain a large number of pots. In some areas, pots filled with ashes and charred bones have been found. Some graves contain fragments of rice and other grains. So, we know that people cultivated the grain. So, by excavating or by digging the ground, they used to get the pots, different pots. A pots like a few of the pots may have the ashes and the dead body may kaliste budida. That ashes used to have in the pots, and they even used to find some bones, charred bones, and it's like very rough enough. Those bones, and they even found a fragments of rice and grains. Looking at that, they thought maybe they have even cultivated the grains also. Objects found in the graves indicate the buried person's position in the tribe. So already we learned different tribes are there. The people are divided into different tribes. Like whatever the dead body they obtained underground, depending on the jewelry, they used to come to one conclusion like how the people or to which tribe that particular dead body belonged to. The graves that contain a large number of pots and ornaments probably belong to those who were either rich or important in the society. So if they found large number of pots which have money or any other costly or expensive things, they thought that particular dead body was like people who are very rich or very important in the society. So this is about your Vedic period. So what is that? The Vedas are the most important source of information, and this Vedic period existed between 1500 BC. And Rig Veda was the oldest among all the Vedas. What are the 4 Vedas? We have Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharvana Veda. And the people are divided into different tribes. And each tribe was being selected or was being ruled by a king. What do you call that king? As chief or Rajan. And they were having 2 assemblies. What are that? Sabha and the Samiti. Sabha, along with the king, important people will be there. Samiti, along with the important people, the common people used to gather. That is Samiti. And what are the 2 important animals they had over there? Cow and the horses. The cow provided milk, butter and ghee, and the horses were used to pull the chariots. And people generally practiced more occupations apart from this cattle rearing also. Now most of the people were farmers also. And there was a place, important site in Maharashtra. What is that? Inamgod. And there, when the excavation started, when the archaeologists started studying about this particular site, Inamgod, they found pottery, different types of stone tools, ornaments, beads, terracotta figures, seeds and animal bones. Megaliths were common in northwest and Deccan, mostly in Kashmir. Megaliths are nothing but the huge stones you can find in the Kashmir. Okay, so this is about your lesson, the Vedic period. Hope you understood. Okay, we'll meet in the next class with your lesson in your political life. Okay, thank you. Bye bye. Take care.